Hi, it's Hazel, and this is my channel, the Israelite Woman's Homestead. Welcome. So, I've decided to start a video series because it's winter and nothing is really happening here on the farm. We're doing lots of inside work, and yeah, I'm going to tape all that stuff, but nothing too exciting that's happening here um, as yet. So I have a lot of things on my mind that I really want to talk about on this channel. And so I think this is exactly what I want to do. So I'm starting a series called Real Life Issues. Yeah, real life issues, because we have a lot of issues that is happening in life that I think a lot of people are not really talking about it, and I really want to talk about it on my channel. So the first thing here I am going to talk about is I'm going to talk about hair, right? And people are talking about hair, but they are not talking about some specific things about hair. And the specific thing I'm talking about when it comes to hair are those. I'm talking about dreadlocks. All right. I'm talking about dreadlocks because I have dreadlocks and I have some issues. Not only me, but many people who have dreadlocks, we have many issues because we have dreadlocks. So let's start here. So the number one question that I want to answer, which is going to be the first video, is um okay, let me go backwards a bit. First, I want to say is there's many misconceptions around dreadlocks. And I really don't like the word dreadlocks. I just like to say hair, or I just like to say locks, because the hair is locked into a specific style, right? Which the hair is locked up together. So I don't even like to say dreadlocks, but I'm just going to use dreadlocks because this is what people usually say, and I want to make a point here, even if I don't like this word. So, why people ask me a lot of questions about my locks, and I want to answer some of these questions, or I want to not answer, but yes, I do want to answer some of these questions, and I want to address some of these questions. So, the first question I always get is why do you have dreadlocks? Why? Why did you why do you have dreadlocks? So that's a question I get a lot. And I'm going to answer you. But there is a story behind my dreadlocks. Now, I always had loose natural hair, and dreadlocks wasn't something that I was thinking about, oh, I'm going to grow dreadlocks because I love dreadlocks. No, I love all hairstyles, but dreadlocks was not a style that I was thinking about to put in my hair. I like to see people with it. I think it looks nice, but I was not thinking about that because I had my loose natural hair and I loved it, right? But something happened in my child's life that made me have to grow locks. So this is what happened. Now my fourth child, when he was born, he had a whole load of hair. Like, he was born with a full head of thick hair, as most of my children, but his was just extremely thick and full, and his hair just grew. So he was a little baby and he just had like braids. We just braid up his hair. He was so cute. So, and he never wanted his hair to cut. Whenever we said, "Oh, baby, we're gonna cut your hair," he started crying, "No, no, 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 I don't want my hair to cut." And it was like the end of the world for him. So we didn't cut his hair. We just left his hair and we would braid his hair. And people always sometimes mistake me, say, "Is he a boy or is he a girl?" And I always say, "Well, he's a boy. Don't you see he's wearing like boys' clothing?" Anyways, so he had his hair, and as the hair grew, it was very thick and full and out. When we were not braiding it in cornrows or in just single braids, if we leave it alone, it would just um, tend to get all knotted up, and then it would start locking itself up. So we decided, my husband and I, we said, just leave his hair alone, let it lock. Because my husband, he loved locks. So he said, okay, just leave his hair to lock, because our third child, his hair, he had this, well, he even had much more hair than our fourth child. And his hair just locked up all by himself. So he had locks for a very long time. I mean, since he was born, he had locks. So he had lock already. So it was easy for our other son to have lock. So okay, his lock grew, and it was just beautiful all by itself. Eventually I separated them and I twisted it up and made it like very separated in strands. But I think he had like 300 or 400 locks. He had so much locks because his hair was so thick. So okay, so him and his brother were going to one school, one specific elementary school. Of course, his brother is much older than him, and he didn't have any problem there. There was a few black kids going there, but the majority of the kids were white kids, and they never bothered him because there were just two kids with locks, and that was that. Then we moved because we bought a house and we moved, and the neighborhood that we moved to was predominantly white, and there was hardly any black people living in that area. And the school that they both went to, actually, they were the only two black kids that was there. And so that started posing a problem for my little son. The kids started bothering him, touching his hair, pulling his locks, calling his locks French fries, and they were just bullying him. Now, on the topic of that, now I teach my children to defend themselves. I said people can call you names, but if they touch your body or any part of your body, then you can deal with them. That's what I always say to them, right? So, of course, when they were calling my son names, he didn't say anything, he didn't tell me anything. But the minute time they touch his hair, then of course he fought with them, and we got notes from the school. And then we come to realize that, okay, bullying was happening. You're bullying him on the school bus, they were bullying him in the play yard, and everything like that. And that's why he was fighting with them and hitting. And whenever they touch his hair, he would hit back at them on stuff like that. And so we had to have a meeting with the principal. And like I said, people are not, sometimes I don't know what to think about adults, because I think if you're a principal, you should educate yourself about all kind of people, because there may be all kind of people in your school at some point, at because we live in a world where people come from all over the world, and a black child, a Chinese child, an Indian child, a Filipino kid could be in your school. So you need to educate yourself about them. So we had a meeting, and she said, violence is not the way, blah, 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 la di la, la di la. And I just told her plain out, I said, listen, apparently the school knew what was happening, and nobody told me what was happening. You guys only told me when my child started lashing back and hitting, when people started touching him, but nobody told me anything when they were calling him names. And I know in my son, he didn't want to bother me because it wasn't touching him, and he has a really high self-esteem, so that wasn't really bothering him at all. He was just waiting for them to touch him. And he didn't even tell his older brother, because his older brother would definitely have dealt with them. But anyways, I was in principal office, and then she said to me, she said, oh, the kids are not used to seeing a black person, black people. Plus, they don't usually see black people with this kind of hair, with this, kind of hair, she said. And then I looked at her and I said, okay, um, like that. And then she said, well, the kids really don't know how to address his hair, or how to call his hair, or what to think about his hair. And I was like, what? What do you mean? Like the kid doesn't know what to think about his hair, or call his hair what his hair? It's just hair, and it grows out of his head in a different format. And then she came back and she said, well, how do you want me to call it? I'm like, it's just hair, lady. And I was starting to get really pissed off. And she saw that. And she said, okay, I understand it's just hair. And it's just hair, right? And then she said, so that's the way the hair is? She keep asking me a question. I'm like, yes, that's the way the hair is. If we don't comb our hair and we twist it and we leave it like this, it grows out of our head like that. And I was very annoyed. And then she went into a whole conundrum of information like, When we spoke to your son, your son told us that, kids are hitting him, so he's defending himself and whatever. And that's what he's told and taught to defend himself. And she said, violence is not the way. We don't teach kids to defend themselves. We teach kids to solve their problems and whatever. I said, yes, I'm not advocating violence here. We should teach kids to solve their problems, but we also should teach kids to defend themselves. And in my home, I teach my children to defend themselves. If anyone put their hands on them, well, sorry for you. You should keep your hands to your side and don't put your hand on another person because you will be in trouble. And I teach all my kids that. And I sit here and I do scenario with my kids. We get sticks. We have things that I wouldn't mention here that we use to do self-defense. We even use sticks to show them how to, if somebody come at you, what to do. I do that with my kids. I'm a mom and I do that with my kids. My husband teach the kids how to punch and how to do that. You need to do that with your kids because our black kids are always bullied. People are always bullying them and fighting with them and all that stuff. We're always picked on. So if you're a black parent out there and you're not teaching your kids to defend themselves, well, I don't know what to tell you. But this is what I teach my kids since they were wee. And it may sound funny. If you pass by my house, you will see me and my kids doing self-defense protection. Okay, so and this isn't even in my homeschooling. This is part of my homeschooling. How to defend yourself and scenarios of how to defend yourself. So, anyways, that's what I do. So that was the whole scenario of my son with the locks and everything like that. And so when my son came home, we had a chat, and I said to him, I said, you know what, son, I am going to grow my hair as an encouragement for you, because he said, Mom, you know what? It's just me and my brother who has locks, and a lot of people doesn't have locks, so maybe that's why they're bothering me. So I said, don't worry, your mother is gonna have locks too. So next time they see me in a couple of months, I'm gonna have locks. And so this is what I did. I grew my locks as an encouragement for my son to show him that I could have locks and it's okay to have. So basically, I grew my hair because my son was being bullied at school and I wanted him to come home and see somebody who has the length of locks that he has and can relate, because even if he's other people out there have locks, they're not living in the same home with him and he doesn't like see them doing the same thing that what he has to do with his locks. He can touch or just be with them. His brother had locks, but it was just shorter locks. It was just wider like this. It wasn't long like mine, hanging like this. And his brother always kept his in a certain length, so it wasn't like long like his. So I already had loose natural hair, so it's very easy for me to have my locks. I just twist it up and it didn't take long to lock. So we had a great time, me and him. I mean, when I wash my hair, I talk to him about I washing my hair, I doing stuff and whatever. So it was really good for me and him to have the lock together to relate to each other. And I mean, that I think that was really good for him, and it made him, even if he was a child that didn't have low self-esteem, but I think it boosted his self-esteem more knowing that his mom like really is doing that for him and is with him doing that stuff. So that was a great thing for us. And we had competitions to see whose hair is going to be longer and stuff like that. And he always say, Mom, I always say, like, you have an advantage because you had locks before me and your hair is going to grow longer. But anyways, I beat him to it. My hair just grew and grew and grew longer. So in the end, I had longer locks. So I won him anyways. But anyways, this is what we did. So this is how I came up with my locks. And unfortunately, my son, we went on vacation and my son hair got lots of sand in it, and we tried to get the sand out of his hair, and it was just a mess. And we did so many washings, all kind of stuff, and the sand was just stuck in his hair and it just looked so ugly and so bad. He was very sad trying to keep that hair, but we just couldn't keep that messy hair, so he had to cut his hair. So for 11 years of his life he only had locks. So right now he's growing back his hair. So that's what he's doing right now. And I still have my locks. So this is the reason why I have locks. And this is what I want to come on the channel to talk about. Look, People have locks for different reasons. This is my reason why I have locks. And honestly, now I love my locks. I will never think of cutting it. Like I can't even see myself without my locks. I just love my locks. And I really understood why my sons love their locks because I mean, it just, I don't know, it makes you, for me, it brings some self pride, more self pride than I have. And I don't know, there's just something about having lock hair that I just can't even explain to you how it makes you feel. It brings me back to my roots. And I don't know, it just makes me in tune with more of myself. I don't know. There's like there's a whole lot of thing I can say, but the video is gonna be extremely long. So this is why I have locks and all this misconceptions about why people have locks. Um it's just a misconception and people are not educated about why people have locks. And I think sometimes before other people go out there and judge people or say things about your locks, I think they should educate themselves. So this is why I'm coming here with this video about locks. All right, guys. So this is why I have locks. Video number 1 in the series. Next video, video number 2, is going to be about some things, some misconceptions people have, and some things people have done or said to me about my locks or things that I went through because of my locks. All right, so I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.